Greetings folks, Pockets here, back again with some more EVE Online. So today I just wanted to talk about some things that have been on my mind for the last couple months, and I just want to get my views and my opinions out there. And so while we do that, we're going to watch my alt here, mine some rocks in high sec. This is actually my 7-year-old daughter's character, but I've been using her to mine when I don't feel like doing anything. So we're going to watch some pretty screenshots while I talk about faction warfare. So I've been Omega for a while. I've been playing this game off and on since 2008, really onto it since about 2012 with a break around 2015. I took about 6 months off. But when Alpha Clones came out, I made an alpha just to see what was going on, and I went straight from the tutorial into faction warfare in the NPC Corps. And I hung out there for a couple months, and it was what it was. I mean, it was okay. In December 2016, so 9 months ago, I joined Aideron Robotics, and I started with that alpha, and I started having a lot of fun. So I pulled that alpha out, and I put my main Omega character in to be able to fly a wider variety of ships, and I've been having fun ever since. During that time, especially shortly after Alpha Clones, the Caldari had taken early advantage of the Alpha Clone program, buffed up their numbers with alphas, and were actually taking over the Warzone. Black Shark Cult was active and became one of the more active groups on the Caldari side. So the Gallente rallied and did what they could, and we pushed back. Eventually Black Shark Cult left, and for the summer everything's been very quiet. To the extent where we couldn't get a fight if we tried. We'd go poke away at some citadels and nobody'd show up. We flew around for like 2 hours in a small battleship, a Typhoon fleet. 2 hours just wandering the Warzone during prime time and didn't see anybody. Nobody came to try to stop us, nothing. We didn't even care if we got dropped, we just wanted to get a fight. And I hear lots of reasons about why that is. So let's look at some of the more common ones from around the internet, either in-game or Reddit, all over the place. Citadels. Citadels in low sec and especially faction warfare have broke the system. So Citadels removing the value of zone control and system control, so taking over systems so your enemy can't dock there or can't have ships in that system or in that area. And that's true. I mean, and you put up a Citadel, it doesn't matter who owns the system, you can still use that Citadel, and since we can't bubble gates like you do in null sec and all that, it's hard to keep and confine your enemy and keep them out of certain areas. Fair enough. Also, removing established citadels is super hard, especially in low sec. Due to Crime Watch, we get tie-dye a lot quicker than in null sec. Again, you can't bubble things, so it's harder to tie groups down or block gates and keep things from coming in. No cyno jammers, so you can't stop hot drops and dread bombs and capital ships or whatever coming in. And that's all valid. Can't argue about that. It's been rough. Grinding complexes is boring. It's a mechanic that's been in the game for a while. Some people enjoy it, some people don't. I don't personally like to just sit and grind plexes myself. I don't go out of my way to go solo grind plexes. Where the complexes come in is getting good small gang and solo PvP. So don't think of it as you have to grind the plexes to get the system. That's just part of the game. It's just like doing anything else. It's like shooting citadels. Yeah, you're not shooting a gun, but really you're just orbiting until it's dead. Where it comes in is when you get both sides actively vying for control of those systems. Favorite thing for me is go out to a system and 1 or 2 guys are starting to work on it. Then the enemy shows up and pushes them out, so you gather more guys and you come back, and it turns into a 10, 20, 30 man fight spread over a couple systems trying to get these systems in control. Hopefully, if you're the aggressor, leading into a system bash and taking over the system. And yeah, it's a grind, but the fights that can happen within that grind are what's important. Stabbed plex farmers, so guys flying ventures like you see on the screen here and with stabs so that they can just sit in this system or in the plexes, don't even have to carry weapons, and as soon as there's trouble they just warp off, but they just grind these systems down. Maybe some drones to fight off the rat or whatever. And yeah, they're a problem, they're hard to catch. You can do it, use a Mollusk Navy issue, put some extra scrams on there and try to catch them, but it's hard. I found if you just keep chasing them, eventually they go away, and then you can do something else. But If you're looking for combat, those aren't the guys you want to fight anyways. So chase them out of the system, and then you sit yourself in the novice plex with your frigate and go to active systems and try to get the enemy to come and fight you. Now, when, in our case, with the Gallente, the Caldari are pretty much quiet. They're all sitting, I don't know what they're doing, but they're haven't really been fighting for the Warzone. You don't get those fights. Pirates will come in and do that, and we'll get to some other stuff later about pirate factions and neutral, non-faction warfares, but it's getting hard for me to go sit in a plex and get any kind of fight because I just sit there and nobody shows up. It's very quiet. So stab plex farmers, don't worry about them. If they're taking over system, just keep jumping on them. Eventually they'll go away. They don't want to fight, and that's not really your fight anyway. Or fit up a Mollis and try to catch them at gates or at the entrance to a plex. You know, all sorts of things you can do. Sit in a cloak ship in the plex and close in on them while they're not paying attention. Whatever. But really, stabbed plex farmers are bad on both sides, and there's not a whole lot you can really do at this point. Now, if CCP makes some changes to things, there's lots of stuff going around that may change, but again, play the game and have fun. Neutrals entering plexes should go suspect and criminal when they enter. So you could be sitting in a plex and a pirate can come in, and if you initiate combat, so a neutral, not a faction warfare, not an enemy faction, but a neutral party comes in, if you engage them, you take a security status loss. Yeah, that sucks, and it really should be that when anybody entering the plex, it should be assumed they're looking for a fight, and they should go suspect at the very least so that you can engage them without penalty. Doesn't happen. A lot of low-sec pilots I know don't care about the security status. Anything they have to do in high-sec space, they do on alts. And it just seems to work. This guy's done. So my opinion on that is just take the fights anyway. Don't worry about your security status. There are ways to fix it later if you need to. And use a high-sec alt for any shopping or any high-sec stuff you need to do. I don't typically run into problems going into high-sec. Because I don't. My low-sec character stays in low-sec. So my opinion on the game is simple. EVE in general. You get out of EVE what you put into it. If you want to fight, mechanics be damned, go and fight. Yes, zone control means nothing in the mechanics of the game, not really. I mean, the bonuses you get are minimal. Citadels make it so you can't push people out. But contesting systems, if both parties just get it in their head that that's important because that's what we want to do, then we'll get fights out of it, and that's the important thing. You know, if Galmil comes up into a Caldari system and starts turning plexes and flipping that system, whether it's of value mechanically or not, someone on the Caldari side should be like, no, we're not letting that happen because we're in faction warfare and this is what we're doing. And they come and fight us. But you guys will, you know, one side or the other will bat, phone, and nullsec corps, snuff, shadow cartel, whatever. Who cares? We both do it. Both sides of the fence are guilty of it. Blobbing, escalating, you know. You always hear about kitey doctrines being cancer, and you guys always fly worms. Just, that's the game. Get out, fight. If you can't take the system, back off for the day, try something else tomorrow. Complain to CCP about the broken mechanics, absolutely. Go to Reddit and talk about it, absolutely. But when you're in the game, you want to play the game, got to put the work in. You got to just do what you got to do. So it'd be nice to have active parties on both sides that are roughly the same power. I mean, even if they're not. Underdog is always a great story. Black Shark Cult started that. You know, they came in small. They had a narrative they wanted to run. They were playing on it. They did some good work. Eventually, they decided to back off. I actually missed that because there was always fights to be had while they were around. So I'm hoping that with this fall, someone on the Caldari side will do what we in Aderon and Fed Up do, is just, we care about the Warzone because it's there, not because of the mechanics. We want to own systems. We have a border in the sand that we will defend, and that's that. And then we can get the mechanics fixed in the background while we enjoy playing the game that we play. Why not? Sitting there and being bitter about it isn't fun. Nullsec mechanics aren't that much or any better. I prefer the faction warfare stuff. Again, take my advice or my opinion with a bit of salt. I lived in Providence for a few months. That may or may not have been the best barometer for how nullsec works, but that's my experience and I prefer where I am now. But really, at the end of the day, it's you get what you put into this game. You get out of it what you put into it. If you want to fight, go make things happen. Go poke a Gallente home system that you know you're not going to take, but go poke it anyway. Bring us back from nullsec, so we have to fight you in lowsec. And yeah, if you target one of our citadels and a bigger nullsec corp, or whoever just wants to come and help us defend it, yes, we're going to take advantage of it. And the Caldari would as well. It's not a big deal, it's what happens. That's the game. Get your people recruited, rally them to the cause, mechanics be damned, fight in the Warzone. Anyway, that's my rant on faction warfare. But yeah, so mined up a bit of ore, got a little bit of a vent off my chest. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and we'll catch you all next time.